You be good. Welcome to episode 4 of the Flax Golden Knits podcast, a podcast about knitting and whinging about the vagaries of life. My name is Kristen and I live in Nashville, Tennessee with my husband and our 2 kitty cats, one of whom is right over here and making a lot of noise. There he goes. You can find me on Ravelry and Instagram as Flax Golden Knits, and I hope you will say hi either in one of those places or down below in the comments section. I would love to hear from you. I'd like to say hi to my 13 subscribers and any other watchers out there who are returning, and a big hello to any new viewers. Let's jump right in because I'm very excited today to share with you a new cast on finally. I talked about this cast on in my first episode that I was getting ready to cast it on, and that was, let's see, this is my 4th episode, so not quite a month ago. And here is my progress so far. I know it's not much, but it's something, and I'm very excited about it. I am knitting the Slable hat by Woolly Wormhead. It's in her Twisted Woolly Toppers book, and I am so excited. I've never knit a Woolly Wormhead pattern before, and I've been hearing about Woolly Wormhead since I started knitting 9 years ago. Minnie Moo, quit it! What are you doing? The Slable hat is a slightly slouchy hat with cables inside cables, is what the description says, and I am very excited. I fell in love with this hat as soon as I saw it, and I basically bought the entire ebook because of that one hat. There are some other hats in there that I definitely want to make, but I am quite obsessed with this hat. So I'm super excited that I got to cast on. And I'm only about 5 rows in because I already ripped it out and started over again. I got a few rows in. I didn't like the way the cast on that I did. I did my standard cast on that I usually do for any cuff down socks or hats or mittens or anything that needs a stretchy cast on. I use that usually, and I didn't like the way it was looking with this yarn for some reason. So yeah, I ripped that and I did the alternate cable cast on, which is what the pattern suggests. So tried to outsmart the pattern, and that didn't work well for me. I am knitting the Slable out of Isager Strik Alpaca 2. In the old gold colorway. I love this color. I love all golden yarns, like sort of brownish golden like this, or a mustardy golden, any kind of yellowy gold color I love. Anyway, I was going to knit my Stay Soft shawl out of the old gold wine and natural colorways of the Strik Alpaca. or the Isager yarns, and they don't have enough yardage, and I wasn't even paying attention when I bought them. They only have 270 yards per skein, and I needed more of a sort of a standard sock yarn 400 something yards per skein for the Stay Soft shawl. So I didn't really like the way the colors were coming together for that shawl with the colors that I had chosen. So I frogged that, and now I am really happy to be knitting the Slable out of the old gold. Yes. Anyway, thank you to, let me see if I can not butcher this, Laerke of the Fiber Tales podcast for helping me with the pronunciation of Isager. I think that I got that close at least. So yeah, there's not much to say about, much more to say about this cast on. I have cast it on and knit about 5 rows, and I'm very excited. It's like unibrow level right now. Yeah. So anyway, moving on. Finally have a new cast on. I'm so excited. So that's it. If you're tired of hearing about my other my other works in progress, you can just come back next week and I'll try to have another one cast on. But I do have some exciting news about my Stay Soft shawl. So maybe stick around for that. I will show that as my last work in progress, because I also have an acquisition that goes along with that. So my second work in progress, you've seen all of these before, but I'll go ahead and show you the ones that I've actually made progress on. So I have made some serious progress finally on my vanilla Valentines socks. Valentines has passed, so I'd like to get these off my needles. I have turned the heels, and I am getting quite close to beginning the, my train of thought. My mind is elsewhere. I'm getting quite close to starting the ribbing. And so yeah, these should be off my needles. These should be a finished object by the next time I see you. If they're not, then I don't know what's going on with my life. So yeah, I think that after this row, or maybe after the next row, I will start the ribbing. And yeah, the last time I saw you, I was just about to begin the first heel. So I was right here. So yeah, very, very, very excited to have these. And guess what? So I went to the House of Yarn in Nashville last Thursday or Friday, and no, that's not true. Last Monday. I went to House of Yarn last Monday, and I walked in and I was chatting with, well, the lady at the front was helping me. I don't know anybody's name. I'm really bad about introducing myself and finding out people's names because I always feel so awkward in yarn shops especially. I'm really bad at that in general, but especially somehow in yarn shops I get just really timid and feel a little bit overwhelmed and out of place, oddly. Anyway, I'm sure that that's just more of my neuroses coming out. But I was so excited because the lady behind the counter that was helping me was knitting this exact yarn, and she said the same thing, that she thought that it looked so Valentine's-y, and she just had to knit with it. She was knitting some Rose City rollers, which were super cute, and she had a little contrast heel, and it had a heart on the heel. They were really cute. So anyway, yes, I'm excited to get these off my needles. Not that I haven't loved knitting them and working with the yarn and watching the stripes come up, but I'm just ready. And also, I really wanted to cast on my speckled space socks, that I have been talking about knitting for a few weeks. And I realized that I couldn't because I really need my size 0 needles, and this is my only pair. So yeah, excited to get those bound off soon this week, hopefully. So that's work in progress number 2. Oh, and look, I have to show you this little pin I got. It's not a knitting pin, but I am excited about it. It's a chocolate ice cream cone. Look at it, it's so cute. Oh my goodness. Chocolate ice cream cones, actually chocolate ice cream cones in the cake cones with the flat bottoms. That is my absolute favorite ice cream treat. If I had to choose one ice cream treat for the rest of my life, it would be a chocolate ice cream cone in a flat-bottomed cake cone, just like that. I got this at Jeni's Splendid Ice Creams when I was there a few weeks ago with a friend of mine. And yes, if you have never had Jeni's Splendid Ice Cream, it is quite splendid. They are a, I think that they are based out of, I should know this. I actually worked at Jeni's for a little while. Columbus, Ohio? Anyway, they are both based out of Ohio, and actually Nashville was the first place outside of Ohio that they opened a store. And now we have, gosh, I guess 4 or 5 of them, but they have the best ice cream. They do have pints in different places around the country, and they are like $12 pints. So if you are ever feeling flush and fancy and you see some Jeni's ice cream in your supermarket freezer, get some ice cream. Just if you're ever feeling real flush. Because it is expensive, but it is probably the best ice cream you're ever going to have in your life. Okay, I have digressed. So back on track, my next work in progress is the Sockhead Slouch Hat by McClure. And I quite honestly cannot remember if I've made any progress since the last time I podcasted. My progress keeper is right here, but I can't remember if I moved it after my last podcast, because I think most of them I forgot to move. So anyway, that's where I am right now. I am making progress in general, and I'm loving how this is coming out. But yeah, I kind of stopped working on it because I started working on my Stay Soft shawl, and I decided that I really wanted to get some progress made on those Valentines socks. So yeah, I kind of stopped working on this, but I am really loving it. It is so cute. Look at it. It's so cute. Yeah, anyway. So that's it. Again, not sure if I made progress or if that's where I left off last time. I'm sorry. So yeah. So that's that. By the way, I did get my hair cut, finally. I've been holding off, kind of waiting for it to get a little bit longer, and then I just got it all chopped off. Although I do still have my bangs I'm trying to grow out for summer because I can't stand to have anything on my forehead in the summer, so. And now I've messed my hair all up. Oh well, whatever. So, my final work in progress this week is my Stay Soft shawl by Veera Valimaki, and I wanted to save this for last because I have a tale to tell you. So if you remember, I had been knitting this out of 2 Woolen Boon skeins, one in the Robin Sparkles colorway and one in the Buffy colorway. Oh, are they going to... It always gets so dark when I put these on screen because they're both so light, but let's put this one with it. And then the third color was going to be this old rusted chair in the Shipwreck colorway, which is that gorgeous, gorgeous blue. So those were the three. And I will pop a picture of the Stay Soft shawl up here for you to see how they all come together, the two that stripe together and then the third along the bottom. And it wasn't working out for me. I didn't get a picture. Oh, did I not? I think that I didn't get a picture of, I had begun at our last podcast, I had begun to stripe in the Buffy with the Robin sparkles. And they were just so similar that you could almost not even tell that they were different colors. I mean, you could in the right light, but they were just so similar, and I wasn't loving how they were coming together, and then I didn't think that the Shipwreck was actually going to look good. So I went to House of Yarn last week to look around to see if I could. My theory was that I was either going to get a third very subtle color and then just make it all very subtle, or find something other than the Shipwreck. Somehow I thought that that's what was going to work out. That is not how it worked out at all. What I ended up doing is replacing the Buffy. So the Buffy is now out of the picture. I totally frogged the Buffy part out of it. But I will be super excited to work with this yarn at some later date because it is gorgeous and smushy. And I love it. I love it. But yeah, not now. So okay, so here's the story. I've heard this before. I've heard this trick before where you, when you're doing color work, I have fuzz on me. When you're doing color work, the way you can decide which colors are going to go well together is to take a picture of the yarns together and then change that picture to black and white. I've heard of that trick. And it makes total sense, but I've never used it. And I don't know why it didn't, well, I did think about it, but I didn't take the actual step of taking the picture of the yarns together. I don't know, I just thought that I could figure it out on my own. But apparently I am not gifted in that way of just being able to look at these speckled yarns and automatically have a feeling for what's going to go together. Apparently it is very difficult for me. So I went to the yarn store and I was looking around and I thought that I had found another color, and I decided to talk to the lady at the desk about it. And I have to say, y'all, I get really intimidated in yarn shops. I know it's great to support our local yarn stores, and I do try to do that when I kind of know what I'm going for. Sometimes I don't like to go into yarn shops because I feel so intimidated, and I have gotten some snarky behavior from some people at yarn shops before. I really feel like really bad saying this, but I know I'm not the only one, and I know that it has been a thing that other people have experienced, and I haven't gotten really that treatment at House of Yarn in a while, but I have before. But I've been shopping at House of Yarn since before I was a knitter, since I only knew how to crochet, and so, you know, for the last 10, 11, 12 years I have been shopping at House of Yarn. So So I don't know, there have been lots of different people who've worked there since then. So I'm just, I feel like I'm just putting my foot in my mouth in all kinds of interesting ways right now. So anyway, I went to House of Yarn, and I just feel so embarrassed to ask anybody anything. But I did, and the lady was very helpful. I wish I'd gotten her name. I'm terrible, like I said earlier, at I'm terrible at introducing myself and getting other people's names. Sometimes I get so overwhelmed in public situations, and I just almost like, I just kind of shut down in a way, and I can just keep that sort of, it's almost like an out-of-body experience. I feel like I'm breaking out in hives just talking about it. Yes, there's something wrong with me. So anyway, we started talking about that, and she took a picture of the yarns that I had and made it black and white and showed me how it just wasn't going to work. And she did help me find, we both kind of gravitated towards this color at the same time. So that was kind of fun and interesting. So these are my new yarns for my Stay Soft shawl. They are not popping. That's a little bit better. Anyway, so I've still got the Robin Sparkles over here and the Old Rusted Chair Shipwreck over here, and I added this Old Rusted Chair in the bell-bottom colorway, which, oh my gosh, how gorgeous is that? That's another of those sort of golden-y, yellowy, greeny colors that I love. I love this kind of color. So I'm super excited because I have seen this color before and wanted to use it, and just I haven't had the opportunity yet. So now what I'm doing, I'll show you, is I'm striping the Shipwreck in with the Robin Sparkles. So here you go. And I like how it's coming out. I do think the Shipwreck is a little bit darker, a little bit more bold maybe than what I would like, but it is much better than the Buffy, and I think that that's going to be gorgeous on the bottom. And I mean, these colors, I think no matter what I did, it was going to still be pretty, but I am really happy with this combination now. So I'm going to show you some pictures. First I'll show you, I'll put up a picture of the Stay Soft shawl in black and white. So I took all of these to monotone and compared them. I kind of wanted to see what the Stay Soft shawl looked like in black and white, so I could kind of get the comparison of the colors that she used, and get a little bit of a better idea of what I maybe should have been going for at the beginning, to see if I could have given myself a little bit more help at the outset. So next I'll put on the screen a black and white shot of the Robin Sparkles with the Buffy and the Shipwreck together. And you can see how the Robin Sparkles and the Buffy, there is almost no differentiation in tone between those two. They're very, very similar. And then the Shipwreck is just so much darker than the two of them. I think that it would have probably been fine, but I think I'm going to be very happy that I made the switch. So third, I'm going to put up on the screen the new combination of the Robin Sparkles and the Shipwreck with the bell bottom. And I still feel that the Shipwreck is a bit dark in tone to go with the Robin Sparkles. So actually the bell bottom I feel is the tone in the range that I should have been going for to go with the to go with the Robin Sparkles, but I think that because the color is so bright, it's really going to pop against the Robin Sparkles with the Shipwreck, and it's all going to come together and be really nice together. So I'm pretty happy with what I have now, and I'm ready to start making some good progress on this shawl. Also because I am dreaming of a new shawl, and I don't want to start it until I get this shawl cast off. Oh my gosh. So those are all of my works in progress, and now I want to show you my other acquisition. You saw one in the bell bottom, or one with the bell bottom that I bought to go with the in the Stay Soft shawl, and I allowed myself to get a little tiny treat for myself while I was at House of Yarn. I just couldn't resist these Dream in Color BFL sock minis. It's actually, they're called BFL sock Petites. Look at it, it's so cute. But look at this colorway. It's so pretty. It's kind of a creamy color with red and gold. Oh, it's gorgeous. It's the String and Key colorway, and I am in love. I am in love. The lady who helped me at House of Yarn, who was also knitting with the lady at House of Yarn who was also knitting socks out of the same sock yarn. It's Lane Cervinia Forever in this colorway 67. It just has a number. Anyway, she was making Rose City rollers, and her heels she was making out of this colorway. And they were really cute. So I'm excited to find out what this is going to become one of these days. I just absolutely love it. It's gonna go in my mini bowl. I'm so excited. So that's it. That's really all of the acquisitions. I had no FOs. We've talked about my works in progress, and I just had that one small acquisition, really. Is there anything else? I do want to talk to you about some dream knitting. So I do want to talk to you about some dream knitting. I just keep thinking about this shawl. It's the Morgan shawl. It's the Morgan shawl by the Sweater Collective. I love everything the Sweater Collective does. She is amazing. I saw this pop up on my Instagram feed when it was first released, and I bought it immediately. It's the first time that I've ever bought a pattern as soon as I saw it, just because I loved it so much, even though I knew that I wasn't going to be able to cast it on for a while. I absolutely am so excited about this shawl pattern. So the pattern description says the Morgan shawl is a staple accessory, geometric, minimalist, and great for layering. And from looking at the picture, I would have to say I definitely agree with that description. It says it's best made with a silk blend so that it's nice and drapey. And I don't know what yarn I'll choose to make this out of yet, but I'm just kind of obsessed with it. It just looks so pretty. And it looks like it's going to be a really fun knit. And yeah, so I'm dreaming about this right now. I am also still dreaming of a cardigan. Last week on the podcast, I was talking about wanting to cast on a cardigan. I had spoken the previous week about wanting to cast on a pullover, and I had decided on the Avalanche pullover by Heidi Kiermaier, and the Quince & Co. Osprey that I want to knit that sweater out of is not currently in the colorway that I wanted to knit it out of. So I decided that I would go ahead and cast on a cardigan. And last week when we spoke, I was trying to decide between an Andy Satterlund pattern. And I looked and I couldn't quite find what I was looking for. I really wanted to knit something either in a fingering or DK weight yarn, and a lot of Andy Satterlund's patterns come in worsted weight, and I am just not skilled enough to do the mathematical gymnastics to knit a worsted sweater into out of DK weight yarn. I'm just really not mathy in that way. So I looked and I couldn't quite find what I was looking for, and then I found this pattern by Jennifer Dassau, or Dassau. I am not sure how to say her name, but it is the Lorem Ipsum cardigan. And I might flash a better picture on the screen for you so you can get a better idea of the texture of the sweater. But this is a cardigan that is knit seamlessly from the top down. It's a raglan style, and the button band is knit, simultaneously. So I don't think you even really have to seam anything. Yeah, you don't even have to seam. So that's exactly what I wanted in a sweater pattern that I'm going to knit right now. I just kind of wanted something that wasn't going to drag itself out, nothing too complicated. But what I do love about this is it has this geometric eyelet design. So it has a little bit of airflow and it has some visual interest, some textural interest, but it's not going to be too complicated for my overworked little brain right now. So I am very excited. I ordered the yarn for it and I'm waiting for that to come. It should be here hopefully this week. And so I'll get to show you next time. I'm very excited. It's from one of my favorite yarn dyers, so I can't wait to show you. So I think that that is pretty much it for this week. I didn't have a lot of knitting to show you. I have still been trying to catch up at work, doing some later hours, and kind of tired still when I get home. So I haven't gotten to do a lot of knitting, and then this past weekend I worked both weekend days at my part-time job as a massage therapist, and I did maybe one more massage than I really wanted to do this weekend, and I was just exhausted. I was just exhausted both days, probably I stayed really late at work on Friday night, trying to get myself in a good position to go into work this week, with some deadlines that I have coming up, and then yeah, I had those massages this weekend, so that pretty much took over my life this past week. Was going to try to make it through this entire podcast without whinging about my life at all. I am feeling good and healthy and a lot stronger than I was for the past month. So I'm super excited about that and really, really ready for daylight saving time. Yeah, I'm ready for some afternoon sun. I'm ready for it to be light outside when I get home from work so that I can take a walk in the park and enjoy myself a little bit. So yeah, so I didn't get a lot of knitting done. That's all I have to share with you, but I did get a little bit of footage this week of me doing a little bit of knitting and winding some yarn, and of the pretty flowers that my husband got me for Valentine's Day. So I will pop in some nice video for you, and I hope you like that. So until next time, I'm going to sign off and say goodbye. Again, my name is Kristen. You can find me on Ravelry and Instagram as Flax Golden Knits, and I hope you'll say hi. And until next time, happy knitting and goodbye. One more thing that I wanted to mention, I mentioned her earlier, the Fiber Tales podcast, Laerke. She is super sweet and I really love her podcast, so if you haven't seen it already, check it out. It's on YouTube, the Fiber Tales podcast, and I will link that below in the doobly-doo or the down bar or whatever you want to call that. Oh, I did look that up because I've heard people saying that, and I did find out that doobly-doo, it is actual slang. I was like, who made this up? And I can't remember, but look it up on Urban Dictionary. Somebody made the started calling the down bar the doobly-doo, and it stuck, and now it is referred to as the doobly-doo. And I always want to call it the dingle-dangle, but it is the doobly-doo. So yeah, all of the show notes are in the doobly-doo. If you're ever wanting to know about anything that I talk about, I link all of that up for you. And I will link the Fiber Tales podcast down there. So check that out. Until next time, bye!